Hello, everybody. Good evening. Let me make sure. Awesome. I have the correct microphone working. Sometimes it's the microphone on the webcam, which I don't want. Thank you all for joining me today. Good evening, everybody. I wasn't planning on doing a video today, but I finally got done with the work that I've been trying to do. So now I actually have time to start making videos again. And honestly, it's been kind of a slow time. So today we're going to be going over the Virginia election to approve the congressional districts. It'll be interesting to see how this goes because, and let me go over to the New York Times and talk about the changes that we've seen so far when it comes to what's happening in the redistricting battle. Okay, the redistricting battle in 2026. Okay, just odd to have it in the middle of the decade. But here we have the changes that have happened or changes that are proposed to happen in the future. Okay, California, it's assumed that the Democrats are going to pick up 5. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. In Utah, they now have a specific Utah seat and or specific Utah seat, a specific Salt Lake County seat that's going to be strongly Democratic. So that's a definite pickup for the Democrats. We already know what happened in Texas, and those are going to be 5 pickups. Maybe you can remind me in the chat. I don't know. I think they removed the Democratic Kansas City district. Okay, not the St. Louis one. So I think the St. Louis one is still there. Ohio or Iowa, Ohio, geez, this is not a good day for me already. Ohio has 1 to 2 seats, and I think those 2 seats probably going to be safe. North Carolina 1, and as you know, I've talked time and time again that they did increase by 1, but we'll see how it goes, how the trends are happening right now. They might not necessarily be as strongly Republican as the Republicans hope for, because every one of them, they just had them on the margins, making them 55, 45, 56, 44 seats, maybe 58, 42. I don't know if that's going to be enough to actually pull off the victories in those races. And then we got the 2 states that are outstanding. Obviously, we're talking about Virginia today. We'll see how the election pans out there. And Florida, they're talking about this. Now, when it comes to Florida, I don't know if that's going to happen. Okay, been talking to a lot of people in Florida, and that's actually, I just came back from Florida a few days ago. So, and I've been working on certain things regarding Florida politics, which is the reason why I have been out. I've been working on my dashboard that I have here that does electoral analysis of the state of Florida. I'm hoping by 2027, I'm going to have more of a generic dashboard for people to subscribe to who are just regular people who are interested in politics. It's going to have a lot of information on that. Fortunately, I'm not going to be able to get enough data for this year, so that's something to keep in mind for 2027. But anyway, we can exit out of this. In Florida, I'm not sure if that plan is going to pass. Been talking to people in Florida, and one thing to realize about Florida politics is that the Democratic Party is so weak in Florida. As a matter of fact, the amount of seats they have right now, or what they won in the last election, I think is the lowest amount of seats that they've ever had. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. That being said, the political divisions you see in Florida in the legislature are usually between those who are for the governor and against the governor. And right now, it's not a good time to be for or with Ron DeSantis. Okay, we've seen that when we looked at the state Senate seat 14, that was a few weeks ago, down in the Tampa area in Hillsborough County. So I'm not necessarily sure this redistricting plan is going to pass, kind of like what we saw in Indiana. Remember in Indiana, they tried to do the same thing, and the legislature put the kibosh on that and said, no, I would not be surprised if that is going to be what happens here. Now, we had some news out of Florida. Congresswoman resigned from there. Her district is pretty safe. It's a very gerrymandered district because it goes into one part of. Well, actually, I can show you. Her congressional district here. Okay, it goes into this part of Palm Beach County and then connects all these areas over here in the western part of Palm Beach and Broward, and then takes out this area of Broward County here. So, I mean, that's like, you can't get more gerrymandered than that. So we'll see what happens in Florida. If they do make a decision in the Florida legislature, I'll do a live stream probably of the debate or anything like that with the Florida legislature, but we don't know what's going to happen in Florida. Now, one thing I do want to say about Florida really quick, we'll go back to this. Because somebody mentioned this, Corey Mills might resign and Florida's turning left. The reason why Florida has been so bad for the Democrats, it's been a pure turnout problem. So let's go ahead and go over to 2022 and look at the results for 2022. So if we look at 2022, and let me go ahead and pull up the turnout rate map. We can see in the places that are Republican, there was a lot higher turnout. So let's go here to the villages and place like that. See 83%, 82%, 85%, 86%. The more Republican places had very high turnout. But if you go to the Democratic areas, look at how low that turnout is. 28%. So in Pine Hills, which is going to be a very Democratic precinct, let's click here, 84%. Pine Hills, you have Hiawassee over here, you have John Young Parkway over here, there's Silver Star Road. This is very Democratic, but look, 28.5% turnout, 28.5%, 28.7%, 31.9%. And then we do have a more Republican precinct here. As a matter of fact, this is a perfect example. This precinct in Orange County, very Republican. Ron DeSantis won 68.8% of the votes, and the turnout was 77.9%. This says 78.4%, so I got to do a little bit of checking on that. But then you go to the precinct next to it, which is extremely Democratic, and the turnout drops to 28%. So this is the problem with Florida. It's not necessarily that the state is becoming more Republican. It's this dynamic you have here that in the midterm elections, the Republicans really turned out and the Democrats did not. So this is something that we need to keep an eye on in Florida. But we're not here for Florida today. We are here to talk about Virginia. So that is what we're here for. When do polls close? Polls close in 5 minutes. Close at 7 p.m. At least I believe they close at 7 p.m. What I read earlier, they closed at 7 p.m. So, and Danielson had a super chat. Thank you, Danielson. Good to see you. A good evening day. I'm so happy you decided to stream today. How do you feel about the odds of this redistricting referendum passing? Personally, I don't feel confident about the redistricting measure winning. I don't know. So we'll see how this works and seeing how this plays out. I think it's going to be more of a I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. We're going to look at this election to see if people really want to change or not. I mean, the legislative elections that we had last year and the gubernatorial race and all that looked really good. But just how far will people go, right? And will they go far enough? We'll see. So I don't have any odds on this at all. So we'll just keep an eye on this. Maybe we'll have an early vote dump from some of the other places. Early voting pro. They still haven't said what their pro is including. But one thing that I'm going to be doing when I do have my regular I would say, generic or entry level dashboard, it won't have any of this analysis. It'll basically be like this, because this analysis is for campaigns. That's what they pay for. It's going to just be analysis like this, where you get all the information, and you can filter by whatever the heck you want to filter by. Here's Corey Mills' seat. We were just talking about it a second ago. And as you can see, with Corey Mills, he won 58% here. You can see in some Democratic areas, the turnout was very, very low. Here's a precinct in Lake Mary. It's Lake Mary and Sanford right here. You can see 63%, 63.4% for Val Demings. Nope, I don't. I thought I had the congressional races in there. But you can see turnout, horrible, 27.9%. So turnout's an issue. All right. If you want to show your appreciation for the channel, you can leave a super chat. Again, thank you all for who do subscribe to the channel. Everyone that's commenting is a subscriber, so thank you all very much. But yeah, I probably will get back to doing more videos now that we're starting to get a little bit more into the campaign season, and the big project that I've been working on is now complete. So I probably will be doing a little bit more of this. But we got 2 minutes until polls close. Like I said, there might be an early vote dump in some counties. We'll see. It'll probably pop up within the first 3 or 4 minutes. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, I literally just came back from Florida a few days ago. So, yeah. So I'm kind of been out of the loop for a while. Just going to look something up. Sorry, so I'm just looking at what we have. So people in the chat, I'm trying to figure this out, because you're probably more on it than I am, because honestly, I have not been following this until just today. But is the vote a simple majority, or is it one of those votes where you need 60%? Let me know in the comments. All right, so polls are closed right now, and we'll start seeing if we have anything. I also have this up from NBC News. So, you know, I don't have the state's website up. Okay, it is a simple majority. Okay. See, I should be knowing these things, but I just couldn't be bothered for a while. Okay, thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Can you explain how Decision Desk HQ is measuring early vote returns and in person? Is it based on voter registration? Okay, so I put a link of what you might be talking about, because this is a huge problem I have with anything that's done by Decision Desk HQ is in non-partisan registration states. they'll say, oh, this many Democrats, this many Republicans have voted. And a lot of people think that's what the voter registration was. If you saw my old videos from last year during the election, you saw that they did that a lot. And it was pretty damn annoying. I had to keep on telling people, no, that's not the case. There's not this many or that many. That's why you would see in a lot of these states that have no voter registration by party, the decision desk HQ numbers would say this many Democrats and this many Republicans voted, but it would never tell you the independents or the nonpartisan affiliated voters. Why? Because they're guessing. They're purely guessing. Whereas in a state like Florida, North Carolina, where they do, California, where they do have party registration, they can give you an accurate number. Oh, I mean, these are just, I see what you're saying. I mean, they should have a tool. They should have a little thing here. Back to, I hate to say it, back to what I got here. There's something that people don't understand. Just click on the question mark, and it gives you an explanation. They should have an explanation of what quote unquote target. Oh, there it is. My bad. All right. Vote targets assesses which candidate is on track to win. You can do this by like my voting model that I had was basically looking at where the early votes came and how they performed previously. That's it. There's no party registration aspect to it. So that's essentially what I assume they're doing here. What the formula is or whatever for them to determine this, I do not know. Oh, we got some results coming in. All right. So we got no 70% here. Let's see if the other map knows 70%. Now, it would be nice to see. Here we go. Maybe we can sort by votes. Oh, we have a few. So these are so far in line. Here we go. The goal is no plus 8. The actual is no plus 3. So is the goal for it to pass? That's so yes, I think they're saying this is under the goal. I'm not sure. It's kind of a little bit confusing here. So that's what we got so far. So we will get some early vote dumps. It's a matter of, if I remember correctly, like Fairfax County and all of them, the places that were very Democratic did their early votes dump fairly late. So that might be the case this time around as well. So what website is this? This is Decision Desk HQ's website. They now have a new dashboard on here that it's free to sign up for. So yeah, it's, let me go ahead and put it in the comment section. Let's see if I can sign into chat. Okay, hold on. No, hold on. What the heck is this? Okay. That was weird. It created a separate window for a chat. Okay. All right, so that's where we're at right now. We don't have much coming in. So yeah, that link there should give you what you need to know. All right, now it's just a matter of yeah, so again, this looks like it's not early votes. This looks like it actually is a precinct that is counted in. We are seeing the no's come out fairly strong here. And yeah, if this doesn't pass tonight, the question is, how far can the Democrats push this? Because there's a difference for me. There's a difference between pushing it in a state like California, where there's nothing to lose in California. But in Virginia, there might be. Okay, Virginia is trending Democratic quite strongly, especially with the last legislative elections, but they're not in safe California area, right? So, I mean, if we look at this redistricting right here was a court ordered thing. This could be reversed. The Utah Supreme Court could reverse this. I don't think that that's going to happen. In Texas, you could have a backlash. North Carolina, you could have a backlash. I doubt Ohio you will, but you never know. All right, we'll see. If Loudoun County is going no, then that's probably with a it does look like turnout is pretty low so far if these are early vote dumps. Okay, so let's see here. Fairfax City is plus 34 yes, where Kamala Harris had 33, so that's basically on target. We look at Matthews County. I don't know. This could be close. This actually could be a lot closer than we think. The margins are starting to come down. We got our first yes county with Brunswick County down here. So, or wait, Fairfax City. Okay, now Loudoun has now gone to the yes column. So they just did another, okay. Loudoun County has now, wait. Yeah, they've done a little bit of an early vote dump, right? So numbers are, it's going to take a while. Oh, okay. So now we got Virginia Beach and we have Norfolk, it looks like. Yeah, Norfolk City, plus 37, yes. Harris won it by plus 41. Not the margins you want. This Loudoun number is way under what you want as well. Okay, and yeah, Virginia Beach. Where is Virginia Beach? Why is it not coming up? Oh, no, we just have a lot more than expected. Virginia Beach is at nearly 10% yes, with Harris only winning it by 2.65%, but 0.4% or 0.47% in. So it's going to take a while for these votes to come in. And I'm looking at it this way. If some rural counties are starting to come in, we don't even have Fairfax County in. Remember, Fairfax County is friggin' huge. If we don't have Fairfax County in yet, we can't really glean much. Once Fairfax comes in, and remember I said, if I remember correctly, Fairfax is usually late with their early vote dump. We'll see what happens. These margins are I think, okay right now. We're in a safe zone. Yeah, Loudoun County is at 8.2% yes. But if you're looking, I think what the yes side is looking for is to have these yes numbers equate to the presidential election numbers. Obviously, Kamala Harris won. So we are starting to see some numbers come in. And here's another thing. Oh, Prince William County has come in. I thought. No, it didn't. Okay. I thought I saw Prince William County come in. Chesterfield County, that's 50-50. What did Chesterfield do before? Let's see if we can have... Oh, wow, we already have some in. See, now here's the thing about what they have here. Estimated votes remaining. They're able to do this because Virginia does give a daily update on their actual vote as far as early voting. Now, as far as votes regarding election day voting, they're kind of guessing at this point, unless they're able to call the county specifically and look at that. Now, I need to go over to Blue Sky because there is one. Let's see. Trying to see. There's this one site called State Navigate who really does a good job with Virginia politics. Okay. Maybe we'll go to them and see what they got. Because they a lot of times will call people and say, hey, you know, what's going on. All right, so now we see yes in the lead. And we're seeing yes in the lead, and we don't even really have any Democratic huge counties bringing in a lot of votes. Okay, Loudoun is now at 50%, but nothing from Fairfax. Oh, did Arlington just get something there? It looked like it popped up. No, Arlington has nothing. And Fairfax City, if I recall, does not have that many votes in it. It is mostly Fairfax. Fairfax City doesn't have a lot of votes in it. It's mostly Fairfax County that has a huge chunk. Yep, so that Loudoun number is rising dramatically. So far, it's looking good for the yes side. Definitely. All right. Sorry, I've been looking at some other stuff here. So now it's getting a little bit closer as those results do come in the from the more rural counties. But again, we have a lot of big Democratic counties to come in. Now, Virginia Beach has now it's at no, but 57%, but it's only at essentially 4%. That is not huge at all. So there is a lot to come in. You can see we're only at 8.9 or 8.1% of what is available. I'm sure this is going to have the same results. Okay, just show me the state results instead of the... Yeah, see, they're making an estimate here. And I believe if you notice the early mail-in votes and the early in-person votes, I think Virginia might be a state where people also can get their ballot by mail, but then they submit it to a voting location. So yes is now in the lead, and I would have to say that yes being in the lead with a map of what we already have so far is a pretty good result. We still don't have Fairfax in. We do now look like we have Arlington in. That's 84%. Manassas City, we're at 60%. Okay. Prince William has nothing. Frederick, that's going to be more Republican. I will tell you, Northampton will be an interesting county to watch. This is a county. Let's see if it has, if we can find, let's see, Northampton. Really? Next page, next page, next page. Okay. Northampton, as you can see, it went 6.5% to Harris. This is one of those places that if Northampton can go well for the Democrats will have a good opportunity. So I'm really looking at Northampton to come in to see what's going to happen there. But once Fairfax County gets in, that number might jump up, as Trump would say, bigly. So another thing we're starting to see is Republicans, we're starting to see a lot more no's in these areas than maybe compared to how Trump did. Well, no, let's see. No, not necessarily, but I guess we'll have to wait. So here, Bedford County, you're seeing 59.8% no, but Trump won it by 50.37%, the margin there. Right. So I think you're starting to see partisanship kind of solidify, let's say. Yeah, because when Fairfax comes in, and let's see what happens in Virginia Beach, we still have a lot more to go there. Roanoke, yeah. Yeah, and we don't even have Richmond City or Henrico County in yet. Uh, I think this is looking good for the Democrats. Or for the yes side. I shouldn't say the Democrats, though it is the Democrats, right? All right. I mean, I'm just waiting for Fairfax to come in, to be quite honest with you. If Fairfax comes in, it's going to come in strong, and it's going to come in with a lot of votes. I mean, a lot of votes. You know, see that margin Virginia Beach is coming down? I mean, honestly, if yes wins Virginia Beach, I look at that as being an indication that it's over as well. Because this whole area here has a congressional district that the Democrats could pick up. So it'll be interesting to see. Oh, we got a few more. That made it 50-49. There were a lot more rural counties that came in that time. Chesterfield, yeah, not much. I was expecting more votes from Chesterfield. Yeah, there we go. That makes it better. So Alexandria, I mean, Alexandria is small. This is the big one we're waiting for. But it's close now. Oh, yeah. So let's see what the stupid markets say. 96%. Yeah, like with this dashboard, I was thinking about going ahead and making it available, like selling it per month at a really high price, because you got the degenerate gamblers that are on Polymarket. I'm like, hey, why not make money off of those idiots? All right, now it's just waiting for stuff to come in. See, we're only at 18%. Georgia is bad, but honestly, if the Republicans wanted to get rid of the second congressional district, they could. The one Sanford Bishop had, that they could get rid of that if they want. They haven't yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if they draw that out next time, unless the Democrats make some major gains in Georgia. I do see Georgia starting to be in the position that Virginia was in 2008. Oh, Prince William County. Yep. Karen, thank you for the super chat. Can we get a summary? Well, there isn't much going on right now. We're waiting for Fairfax County. Oh, there's Northampton, right? I said Northampton is the one I'm really looking at to see. I mean, 55%, and it's at 58%. That is good. So basically, the summary right now, about 20% of the vote is in. It's looking like it is going to possibly be yes, unless there is a major swing against yes, or for no, I guess I should say, in election day voting. The early vote dumps look to be on par with what we expect to see. The numbers look good right now, but election day votes could switch that the other way big time. So, yes, we are seeing good numbers, but we want to be careful that we don't look at these early vote numbers as the be all end all, because they won't be. We're going to have a lot of election day. The question is when those election day votes come in from the rural counties in the center part of the state and out west, will that be enough to offset yes? Right now, it's looking like that's not going to be the case, but we don't know yet. Yeah, Prince William is in. Let's go down below. Let's see votes. Yeah, you can see Prince William, and it's significantly higher than the Kamala Harris total. So it's 28.2%. Kamala Harris had 18%. This is what's making me think that maybe we're getting a little bit of a false hope or a false indicator, because it is early vote coming in and not election day voting. Oh, okay, so Loudon's at 61. Okay, yeah. Okay, so thank you for pointing that out. I wasn't even looking at the amount reported. So yeah, that's if you're going to perform that much higher than you're going to perform 6% higher, then that's where you want to be, right? So first and foremost, we can say Democratic voters are saying yes and saying very strongly yes. We'll see what happens here with Virginia Beach. That one's interesting, but again, only 19%. But I believe this Loudoun County number, I think it might have basically stayed the same. It looks like Frederick County is in. Yeah, 83%. That's what I expected. That's where my family's from originally. Before they were here in Illinois originally, I'm the seventh generation Illinoisan. They were from that part of Virginia. Yeah, Virginia Beach is just early vote. I'm wondering if they have this. What would be really nice is if they broke this down by congressional district, which means that they're not getting precinct level results. Oh. Is VoteHub doing something? Yeah, VoteHub is actually doing something. Let's go ahead and throw VoteHub on here. Excellent. I don't see anything. I don't see any precinct level results. But yeah, this map is a lot nicer. Let's see how many votes they have compared to. So it does seem like Vote Hub is a bit behind, a little bit behind. But we'll see if we can get some look into Loudoun. Yeah, see, they're not doing any precinct level results for Loudoun yet. Come on. Here we go. I mean, let me go to, let's go to the votes that haven't been, places that don't have any votes. So you have, or did it just come in? No. So places that don't have any votes, you have Henrico County, which is a big county that went 30% essentially, well, 28.87% for Kamala Harris. No votes from there yet. Okay. You have, let's see what other, Richmond, city of Richmond, right? Capital. You have no votes coming in from there yet. So, and obviously, it must be on the next page. Fairfax County. Yeah, there, Fairfax County, 374,000 votes, right? So that shows how much of that is that. Now the numbers are starting to go up. This looks good. This looks good so far. Yeah, 4chan's Paul is coping hard. I'm not a child. I'm not. I mean, like, see, that's one of the problems. To me, I'm just gonna say this out loud. I don't give a shit. To me, a lot of the people who are in like the Groyper movement or stuff like that, they're political. They don't know anything about politics. They just want to do stuff that's reactionary. They're like the Howard Stern of politics. They just want to do something that makes people mad. They have no political ideology. They have no political knowledge. It's just, I want to vote for Trump because that will make people not like me. It's like, okay. I mean, that's not why you vote, but, you know, we do have to have stupid people. Will be interesting to see how Virginia Beach goes. Because again, like, there are a lot of votes in here that are going to be possibly important to pick up another congressional seat. I mean, a lot of these counties are already at very high percentages. Because now it's more interesting what counties have not counted. Like I said, Henrico hasn't even come in yet, and neither is the city of Richmond. That'll be a big chunk for Democrats. And that'll make that number go up even higher. Yeah, the no is, well, and I mentioned that earlier. So somebody says, Oliver says, the no is overperforming in rural areas. Some places, yes, some places, no. Not everywhere, but yes, overall, I think that's the case. We're starting to see more of a solidification of rural voters being extremely partisan Republicans. Okay, which to me really indicates elections are becoming more of a culture war than it is a battle of ideology. So, okay, 95%. Okay, 95, more than 95%. So, Loudoun is where the Democrats want it. Let's see what Prince William's doing. Still doing well at 50%. So, yeah, still have a few more coming in. So, yeah, this seems to indicate that we are getting into a culture war thing, a rural versus urban, where the suburban areas are starting to be, or going to be the real battlegrounds. And they always have been, but what's interesting is the suburban battleground battle plan or the battlefield has now kind of flipped. Like the people who used to be the Republican voters in the 80s are now the Democratic voters in 2020s, right? That's what we're starting to see. And this is why Democrats need to worry about, the Democrats don't try to make it a cultural thing, but the Republicans do. And that's why if Democrats want to win, and they've been doing a really good job with this, don't bring the culture wars into it. And honestly, I think there is fatigue when it comes to cultural, like the culture war issues, like with the DoorDash grandmother. I don't know. I just want to talk about tips on no tax on tips, which I think is a bullshit thing. Um, no tax on tips, because what I'm going to just start doing is for whatever service I provide, say it's going to be a $1 for the service, but I'm going to give you a 500% gratuity to it. Okay, that's a tip. So I'm sorry, I think that issue is bullshit. Anyway, back to the election. We are starting to see this go up a little bit higher without Richmond, without Henrico County, without Fairfax. My guess is once Fairfax comes in, Decision to SHQ will call it for the S side. If it doesn't come in, or it does come in and they don't declare the winner or make a projection, then I think they're going to wait for Richmond and Henrico County, and once those come in, then they'll make a projection. I think they're just waiting on those three. Yeah, Fairfax will vote yes. The question is by how much will they vote yes? And that's the big question. It looks like we're in a little bit of a lull right now. Oh, wait. Okay. I got this flip. No is in the lead now. Okay, I was thinking that was still yes. But a lot of this, yeah, Fairfax is just going to eat that away. And Henrico will then put that in the lead. Yeah, somebody said it right. Counties that people actually live in are still, yeah. So yeah, I don't think you should be nervous yet. A lot of this is just rural. Again, let's look at everything. I mean, that's 30% of 1,700. I mean, we're talking about very small percentages out here. And even I mean, with the exception of Loudoun, Prince William's still at 50%, right? Arlington's a little bit more. We still have Richmond and other places. If we go down here into Williamsburg and stuff, Newport City, here, let me zoom in a little bit more. If you go into Portsmouth, that's not going to, but Norfolk will be big. We still are only at 33% in Norfolk. Yeah. James City, will be interesting to see if that flips. But this is going up. And it's about 100,000 vote difference, which means Fairfax County itself will not. This is where now you got to worry. Fairfax County itself can maybe equalize it, but they still need more on top of that. Because we look at Fairfax County, the estimated vote out, which again, I don't know if that includes election day votes, is not huge. It's not enough. What the heck? Oh, there it is. I mean, if that went 2 to 1 at the 35% that we have there, if it goes 2 to 1, that'll be enough to make it a 50-50 race. So I don't know where we are yet. We might not be a yes. Just I want to wait. I want to see what somebody others do. Like some of the other rural counties as well. I want to see. Let's see how much of the percentage. Let's kind of look at registered voters. This is our best indicator. Let's look at the top Republican counties or cities, like Spotsylvania. Okay, um, there's still a lot of votes coming in from Spotsylvania. We do have Hampton City that has not come in yet. Hanover, okay, a lot of Trump votes there. So even a lot of these no areas are not performing well. Suffolk City, it's 15.9% for Kamala Harris, but right now it's 12.8% no. Um, it doesn't seem like necessarily we are at the point where it's not really following the presidential race, really. I mean, if I had a gut feeling right now, I would say yes. If someone had a gun to my head and said pick one, yes or no, I would say yes. Yeah, there's nothing from Richmond, nothing from Henrico County. There are a lot of Democratic votes still out there. And like I said, if I remember last time, Fairfax just took like forever to actually, um, you know, even do their early vote dump, which was the reason why you knew it was going to be a good night for Spanberger and the Democrats, was that they were dominating the race by this time. And they were dominating the race, and Fairfax hadn't even come in yet. Let's look at 546, 635. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to see if they got a. Well, I don't know what MS Now is looking at. I'll see what I've been watching. This one YouTube channel. There's this one guy. What is it called? Lyle Hiroshi Saxon. He's a guy who lives in Japan. He's got these old VHS tapes from Japan from 1990, 1991. It's really cool to watch, and I'll probably just start watching that again. Um, let's go to YouTube because I want to see what Cracky Kornacki is saying, because I don't see how MS Now is going to have it at 54% yes. Okay, Cracky Kornacki. Jeez. Okay, I don't know. They're just going through the counties. Um, but I will keep this open. So 632, 673. It does look like it is Decision Desk HQ that's on the mark today. Yeah, I was gonna say I only saw county votes on there. I didn't see Cracky Kornacki sitting there doing all of his stuff. I actually like Steve Kornacki. Is that his name? I actually like him. Um, Even though he's not a political numbers guy, he's grown into the position. Unlike that Harry Enton guy. Oh my God, that guy is, like I said, that guy is bad. It's like, here's some numbers, and this is what the numbers say. Like if we don't have eyes that we couldn't read exactly what it says. Where did he come from? Come on, give me some like throw me a bone here. Give me something like useful. Holy Toledo, oh my goodness gracie. What did something happen here? Did I miss? He was with Nate Silver before. That tells you all you need to know about him. Nate Silver sucks. I'm sorry, he sucks. He's very, very, very bad at doing this stuff. That's why I think he's gone to becoming a degenerate gambler more than he's become a I mean he doesn't know politics in the first place anyway. I think his parents are actually like had political science majors or whatever, and he did statistics. But he sucks. He like got one election right. And honestly, picking the winner of an election or a state or whatever, a lot of times is not that hard. Those are some of Harry Enton's quotes. Oh God, thank God I don't have to listen to him. Nor Robert McKenzie's out there anymore. Well, David Butler's my guy. David Butler lived to like almost 100 or maybe 100 years old. Um, if I get my Patreon back up again, my my tiers are based off of political numbers people. I have the highest one, which is like the founders or something like that. And it's Campbell, Converse, Miller, and Stokes, the people who do the American voter. Um, and like for my newbie one, I got the Enton guy because he's just so bad at it. What the hell is this commercial I'm seeing on Omnilux? Jesus Christ. All right, it seems like we're in a holding pattern now. I'm going to go back over here. We still have more here. For the Democrats, I want that number to be significantly lower in Virginia Beach. No, David Butler was like, I mean, he died recently. Yeah, David Butler was 98 years old. He was born October 17th, 1924. So he had to have been born. When was Jimmy Carter born? because he was born in October of 24. October 1st, 1924. So yeah, David Butler lived. Oh, he's Sir David Butler. He has a CBE and an FBA, whatever the hell those are. I don't know British titles. Which, by the way, when I was on my way back from Florida, as we're waiting for some results come in, on my way back from Florida, I stopped at Jimmy Carter's gravesite. Okay, which is interesting because when he was president, the area where he's buried now used to be closed off because of Secret Service. Now the Secret Service is gone. There's no need to be there, and you can actually go into that area. I also went to Andersonville, the POW camp of Union soldiers by the Confederacy, but I also went to Warm Springs, Georgia, the place where FDR passed away. And like the bed that he had, here he is this rich guy, and the bed that he had was just a small little twin bed. Okay. And the room he had that he died in was just a small little simple room. So yeah. Yeah, we just don't have anything. We're just waiting for some really big areas to come in that just haven't come in yet. Let's go to the places that have 0 votes. Starting to get more and more, but you can see a lot of Democratic votes. Richmond City, Henrico County, Fairfax County. We also have Campbell County, which is Republican, and Hanover County. Right? Those can offset, let's say, Richmond. Chances are this is going to be underperforming compared to other elections because it's just a referendum that's not during a typical election year, right? So when we look at the last Virginia elections, though for many of us it seems weird because it's an off-year election. So you have 3 types of election: presidential elections, midterm elections, and off-year elections. A lot of time people will call a midterm election an off-year election. No, an off-year election is going to be an odd year election. But for the people of Virginia, the off-year elections are just normal. That's just what they do. So it's not normal for them. But a referendum in the middle of, months after the election happened, yeah, that is odd. So I have a feeling it's just not an election that people maybe are going to be totally invested in. Now we're just waiting. Sorry, I wish I could add more right now, but the reason why I'm filling it in with stories about Warm Springs, Georgia and all that is because we're just waiting. Now, this is a good point someone just brought up, Oliver. In Virginia Beach, Democrats are running 10, 20 points in terms of margin behind. Perhaps never Trumpers are voting no. That is a very good point, which a lot of Democrats, a warning that needs to be heeded, which is that just because somebody's a never Trumper doesn't necessarily mean they're a Democrat. And I think this is why, possibly for somebody like David Jolly in Florida, it becomes a little bit difficult uh, to run, because he's going to have the opposite problem, right? If somebody goes from being a never Trumper to a Democrat, it's kind of skeptical as to why they do it. To me, Joe Walsh being a Democrat makes no damn sense. Okay, ask him what his view on healthcare is and other things. Okay, um, so yeah, this could be a never Trump situation, which then begs the question: if just simply a never Trump Republican was able to win the nomination, would they be able to actually win the election? Okay. Because let's be honest with the Virginia governor's race. It wasn't necessarily that Spanberger won, but her opponent was atrociously horrible. Put those things together and you're going to come up with a victory. And we always have to keep that into consideration. Oh, okay. Virginia Beach is yes now. And that's yes, that's about 13%. So that is indicating to me that election day voters are voting yes. That margin did come, I think it was 55-45 not long ago. So just this Virginia Virginia Beach flip itself has brought that down by 1.2%. And we're still waiting for Richmond, Henrico, and Arlington. Okay, so somebody here said, interesting Oxford study comparing the average. I don't know what this is in relation to, but Oxford study comparing average earnings compared to purchasing power shows average U.S. twice as poor as French, Brits, and Germans. Americans have to work twice the hours to have the same life. Exactly. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I didn't have family here, my ass would be in Europe right now, because I can now go to Europe. I won't be doing some things around the beginning of May, because I will be in Ottawa getting my passport and identity card from Slovakia. So I won't be here for that. Come on, Fairfax, or Richmond, Henrico, one of these. Okay, so this must have been what people were talking about before, right? Democrats, Republicans, no party. This is a pure guess on behalf um, of Decision Desk, which I think is ethically dishonest if you're actually um, trying to portray something real. This is not real. This makes people think that 882 registered Democrats in Orange County, Virginia, voted in this election. That is not correct. That is very, very incorrect, and I think that is, again, dishonest. Oh, like with Spanberger, for example. Do I think she still would have won? Um, anyway, yeah, I still think she would have won, because and maybe it isn't the opponent, right? Because we also saw the huge legislative wins as well for the Democrats, nearly at a supermajority. I don't know if they ever got to that supermajority, but they were close. So yeah, I mean, you could say that is the case. Mikey Sherrill, that election already looked like it was going that way. If you looked at my forecast models that I was doing during that election, it already looked like that was going to be the result. It was. Everyone else was saying, oh, it's going to be this extremely close. I was the only one saying, no, it's not going to be as close as you think, because the models work. All right, we're getting it. We're getting it a little bit. Oh, interestingly, Richmond City has some in, and it's no. That's going to be one precinct, maybe two. So that's not even early votes yet. But again, we have to look at the elections as a whole, not just Virginia, not just New Jersey, but all of these elections, with the exception of like State House District 63 in Alabama, like where the big Republican wins in all of these special elections. They've had like one or two state house races that they've won and the margins haven't changed, but the Democrats have been dominating every election, which goes back to the point of the polls. Polls do not determine turnout. So a poll could be correct, but it's only going to be correct as long as those who are in the poll are representative of what the turnout would be in an election. And of course, you have people who say they're going to be likely voters. Yeah, they say they're going to be likely voters because it's the socially desirable answer to say to a pollster that you're likely going to vote, even if you have no intention to vote. So I got to be very wary of the polls. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's an early vote dump. And that's a good percentage. Still on the nose side. Fairfax the only one we're waiting for now? No, but a lot. I mean, these are small ones: Franklin City and Emporia down south. So the Republicans have some big ones too. Hanover and Campbell, not insignificant. Hanover's decent size. Campbell, not insignificant. Fairfax, still waiting on Fairfax. But I will say, regarding what we're seeing here, Democrats should maybe not expect Republican voters to be just sitting by and not voting. This indicates that even in a referendum, they're going to turn out. And at the end of the day, when we're done looking at these results, we're going to have to ask ourselves, is this a situation where, if it is closer than the presidential margin, was it the Democrats didn't turn out as much, or that Republicans turned out more? Because that's going to be a very important question. Oh, someone said this is a Democratic channel. Who cares? If you have a problem that this is a Democratic channel, that's more of a you problem than a me problem. I mean, I look at it this way. Yes, these changes are nice, but with the current congressional map, Democrats are probably, with the swings that we're seeing, Democrats are probably going to take the House anyway. Okay? And the question you might want to ask yourself is, do the Democrats want to make these changes, or basically say, hey, listen, the Republicans have to lie, cheat, and steal in order to, um, you know, win, win the House back or keep the House, right? Look at the map, it is mainly red. So for the small-minded Republicans amongst you, you know that let's look. Let's look. This county, let's pick one. 3,000, okay, 3,168 Republican votes. In Loudoun County, you have 56,000 Republican votes or no votes here. Okay? The people who say that oh look, it's mostly red, you obviously don't understand how population works. Okay? You don't win a county and then win an election. It just shows the simplicity of thinking of some of these people. I mean, it's just so like the people. In fact, Mr. Beat even did a video about that map, saying this is a Republican country. Yeah, because you got a county with like 17 people in it that voted Republican, but yet has the landmass of, let's say, DuPage County, right? It's just amazing how brain dead some people are. And yeah, I say what I think, and if you don't like it, tough shit. All right, so actually, let me go ahead and look at. Kind of want to see what the total votes were in Virginia. So the total amount of votes cast during the gubernatorial race was 3,433,340. A lot of threes and a lot of fours in there. And see, we're not even at 2 million yet. It'll be interesting to see how close that gets to the turnout of the gubernatorial election. Yeah, but everyone's talking about, oh, well, why are Democrats doing this? Though they say nothing about Texas, where the legislature just did it. At least in this case, they're bringing it to the voters, right? But no, gerrymandering Texas, totally fine. Gerrymandering, what's it called? Missouri, totally fine, right? So let's go back to those. I had it here. Let's go back to these. California, done by a referendum by the people, approved. Virginia, if it goes, done by a referendum by the people and approved. Utah was a court ordered change. Texas, legislature. Missouri, legislature. Ohio, legislature. Florida, if it goes through, legislature. These people don't care if the legislatures that are Republican legislatures change it, but all of a sudden, if you open it up to the people and say, hey, people vote on this, all of a sudden the Republicans have a problem with it, which I think is friggin' hysterical. Oh, here we go. And it's still not up there. Fairfax, oh, but that's only 9.43%. So that tells me that's not even early vote. Those are precincts that are coming in. Spurs? Someone says Spurs fan. They're basketball. I know Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, so we still have a lot. Let's see. Prince William County is done. Fairfax just coming in. Henrico is at a quarter. Richmond is now coming in a little bit more. So this could be close. With Fairfax, I mean, that's not enough from Fairfax. I was expecting a huge 50% early vote chunk. That's not what we just got. But the margin is 75-20. I want to say that's on par with Yeah, I mean that's 50% yes compared to 35% for Harris as far as the margin is concerned. So we still got a lot coming in. Should be heavy yes from this point on. Yeah, if anyone's talking about sports, I kind of stopped following sports. As soon as we got to an era with a player being with a team for 1 year and then going to another team for 2 years, and college sports, I won't even talk about it now that University of Utah, which is the team I follow, totally totally is in the take with private businesses and the whole paying college players now. I even stopped watching Formula One because the Americans have totally ruined Formula One. Early vote usually comes in later than election day in some counties. Yeah, that's true. It is all determined by the county. And I mentioned that before. I said Fairfax County takes a long time. Oh, wait. The person that's at the board on MS Now is actually Ali Velshi. Now I freaking love, okay, Ali Velshi and Chris Hayes. I like those two. I do like those two. I like Jonathan Lemire in the morning. I wish I'd get rid of Mika and Joe. Like, who really cares what those people have to say? Like, really, who cares? I mean, no, I don't think Ali Velshi knows what he's doing, but I just like seeing him there. I am convinced that the Trump administration is totally involved in promoting sports betting. Oh, I'm sure. Hell, that's one of the reasons why I thought about making a dashboard and having it available so that the degenerate gamblers could actually come to it and make poly market decisions off of what I do. I'm thinking about starting up the Substack just for that alone. I'm like, hey, if these degenerate gamblers want to do it and I want to make money off the back end of their degenerateness, if we want to call it that, okay, I'm good with that. Ew, Crystal and Kyle Kalinske. Oh no, Kyle Kalinske is just he's turned. Okay, maybe he isn't. He's turned into a crazy conspiracy theorist. I don't watch that guy at all. And honestly, to tell you the truth, Pod Save America is starting. The liberals are starting to create their own echo chamber. Okay, once I saw that David Packman or whatever guy on Pod Save America yesterday, I was like, oh my god, you guys are now in the tank. I mean, come on. True gamblers never quit. That's right. Thoughts on the California primary? It's better for Democrats. I mean, I'm still well. I still would like to see one more Democrat out of it, so that there are two Democrats in the primary. If one more Democrat leaves, I think they'll just be like a known Democrat. Then it'll Hilton will be out, but we'll see. I wish Lemire was doing way too early. I don't because it's way too early, right? So it's like I'd rather see him. To me, see Jonathan Lemire, I like him because he is an actual um, news person. To me, Hassan Piker have no that's his name, right? Have no interest in him. He just tells me everything I already know anyway. See, that's the thing. That's like with the what's her name? The Richardson lady or whatever. She just talks about stuff that everybody knows. And it's just confirming our own opinions. It's not necessarily giving us new information. uh, right? I mean, but Kyle Kalinski's kind of gone off the reservation as far as conspiracy theory. He's like, Mossad is involved with tampering with my water and stuff like that. It's like Mossad isn't like responsible for like if YouTube glitches right now, it's Mossad's fault. Um, it's like they go a little bit too hard on the anti-Israel stuff, which granted I agree with them on a lot of stuff, but there's a point where you're like, come on. If I take a bad shit in the morning and you're gonna blame it on Mossad, that's going a little bit overboard. That's kind of how they are. A Metal Gamer, thank you for the super chat. Who do you think is the Chicago White Sox of state parties? The Florida Dems or the Arizona GOP? Arizona GOP still wins stuff. But wait, where? Now, funny enough, my favorite baseball team is the Toronto Blue Jays, if you watched my stream before. The White Sox are my second favorite team. The Blue Jays are starting off horrible. But I'm not worried. There's 743 games left to go in baseball. So baseball is one of the only ones that I still kind of follow. We got more in Fairfax, so it's coming down. But barely more. We still got 80% to come in. So that's good. I mean, let's talk elections, and I've talked about it in the past. Um, he is all vibey, but he at least gives you information. And to me, even if you're vibey and you give information, like when he does give his vibes, he's trying to base it off of some information. And I give him credit for that. Okay. So I have no problem with that. But like with all the people on YouTube, as far as just the Kyle Kalinski's, the Crystal Balls. I mean, even though I've been on Crystal Ball's show when she was on Rising before, right? I did election day coverage with them. And, and I have no problem with them personally. And I agree with their politics. It's just that you're not giving me anything I don't know. That's the thing. Richmond still is only at 20%. Now, somebody said Richmond was a lot more. You might be looking at, here, let's see, can we zoom in? So you got Henrico County. We still have a lot still to come in. Now that it's closing up, that's a lot better. That's the only reason I'm rambling on about other stuff politically, because yeah, there's nothing else to talk about until we get more votes in. Let's get a little closer. The Flyers. I like the Flyers. I mean, Blackhawks are my favorite team, but I like the Philadelphia Flyers. So I do still watch NHL every now and then. But luckily the Blackhawks were not the worst team in the NHL this year. Was it the Vancouver Canucks who were the worst? Yeah, it was the Canucks. Not a better team to be last place than the Vancouver Canucks. I love it. What do I think about Tim Miller? I actually got Tim Miller's book here. Right here. I don't think much of him either. There are those people who I truly believe feel that there's a problem with the Republican Party and have now totally switched over. But there are those people who I think that if things went back to the way that they were, that they would go right back to the Republican Party. And I think Tim Miller is one of them. But of course, I'm very wary of people like what's the not Tim Miller, the guy from Tallahassee. Why do I always forget his name? The guy, the Lincoln Project guy. To me, the Lincoln Project is just a way for former Republicans to grift money off of Democrats. That's all the Lincoln Project is. That's it. And who's the guy who's the head, the bald-headed guy with the goatee from Tallahassee? I don't believe that I don't remember his name. Whereas on the other hand, if we're going to talk about people who are in the former Republican circles or conservative circles, take somebody like Bill Kristol. If you listen to Bill Kristol, he's become significantly more liberal on a lot of things. Okay? He really has. Bill Kristol is somebody who I truly do respect. Rick Wilson. That's it. Rick Wilson. That guy is the grifter of all grifters. Now remember, I remember Rick Wilson back in Florida politics days. Okay? He's a grifter of all grifters. And if any of you are on my YouTube history channel, I'll go ahead and make a plug for that right now. I do have a channel called Election History, which looks at the history of elections and so on. So if you want to, I spend way more time on this channel than I do on I spend more time on my election history channel than this channel. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can become a member and join. I haven't done a video in a few weeks because I've been out of town, but I am right now working on my California video. So that should be out hopefully by next week. Gen X, yes, that is true. Bill Kristol has, but he also paved the way for all this shit. Yes. I mean, but see, I don't know if I can just say it's Bill Kristol. Almost all of them paved the way for this shit. Right? Even Joe Scarborough. Joe Scarborough had the lucky thing of being elected in 1994 that he didn't have to vote, you know, against the assault weapons ban and stuff like that. So he's able to still kind of play this moderate, liberal-ish person on MSNBC because he didn't have to do a lot of the stuff the Republicans did. But go look at Joe's voting record, right? You're right, a lot of these people have paved the way for that. Mehdi Hassan, I think, has gotten a little bit more clickbaity, YouTube-ish type. I again, like with all these people that you mentioned, I do agree with them. I politically agree with them. I just don't like the sensationalism way that they're going that's creating an echo chamber that I find that people, like there's this one channel, well, you got the Midas touch that I think's total garbage. Breaking news, Donald Trump farted in public, right? And then you got that I've Had It channel with the two ladies who talk about politics. To me, they're also not that great. Honestly, one of the best people, I think, if not the best person, Anna Kasparian. I think she's great. And people don't like, oh, they don't like her because somebody... Look at the information. Don't look at the YouTube pissing matches, right? Look at the information. Diego, thank you very much for the super chat. Would you do election history of DC and the 5 U.S. territories after doing all 50 states? I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do afterwards. I am probably going to maybe do the territories. One thing that I want to do, but it's been very, very hard to do, I want to do the election history of Texas before it became a state during the Republic of Texas. But it's been hard to find that information. That was one that I wanted to do a while ago. So yeah, doing the states, that's going to take a few years. Okay, it's going to take a long time. You're the only guy I trust in these matters, so thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. I'll probably make a mistake because of my ignorance. You're the only guy I trust in these matters. What your gut at this point, yes or no? I don't want to say I feel in Florida 2020 or 2000 territory, but I kind of do. Like when people ask me in Florida 2020, who do you think is going to win, Bush or Gore? I literally told people I do not know. Even when I gave a definitive answer that I said Ron DeSantis was going to beat Andrew Gillum, and I was the only person that said that, I said I did not know in 2000. This one, let's see, what do we got in Arlington? 136. Okay, now we got Hanover County in, so that does make a difference. With Hanover County in, and gut feeling says, yeah, see Virginia Beach coming back. Gut feeling is yes, we'll squeak it out, but we'll see. Gut feeling, yes, we'll squeak it out. I don't mind if people. So somebody says Anna doesn't have consistent values. I'm fine with that. If you're constantly rigid and only thinking of one thing, it means that you're not open to information to change your mind on something else. This is why I don't like the echo chambers of the liberals and of the conservatives, because, and the reason why I don't do commentary on here, because you either need to be all in left or all in right. If you have some little differing opinion, or you change your mind on something because you have more information, or you do have a thought like, hey, I don't want to turn out to vote because I can, I don't like the positions that are available, or the candidates that are available, excuse me, positions in this case, with the referendum, I'm fine with that. It shows that you're open minded and you're not willing to just sell out to the left or sell out to the right. So to me, that's actually a good quality, not a bad quality. It's getting closer. Let's see some of these other, since land votes, let's see, 95, that one's 53, 84, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, or 48. I was just getting used to saying 95. 95, 95, 95. So a lot of these rural counties. Let's look at Frederick County up here. That's at 52. That'll be an area. Of course, Hanover's at 41. This is probably where most of the Republican or no votes are going to be coming in from this point on. I don't think there'll be a fraudulent vote due to the fact that the Democrats are in charge of things in Virginia now, right? That's good. Anna literally saw the word birthing person once and completely lost her mind on the trans issue. I don't know what her view is on the trans issue, but I probably, if that's the case, I probably agree with it. If we're gonna go into the culture wars thing like that, if culture wars were the only thing that we were voting on, I probably wouldn't vote myself. Oh, there we go. So there must have been, okay, something must have come in. Okay, something did come in, so it's yes. Henrico County came in more and it pushed them there. So now we're to the point that now Fairfax is going to jump up that number over. That's weird. It's still on the flip side, but it looks like Henrico County came in more, and that's now pushed it within a close margin. Yeah, this looks good. Though I do want to still see what Virginia Beach does. Oh, that's a good point. Oh God. So yeah, called it while it is down is wild. Here comes the conspiracy theorist. Oh my God, you were absolutely right. Oh my God, my brain can't deal with stupidity today. Um See, now they used to have on here, let's go back to, yeah, they have not called it yet on I probably, I mean, to be on the safe side, I probably wouldn't call it yet for the exact reason that you said. You usually want to make the call when it's totally obvious. Like when they call a state, they say, "Oh, the state of Idaho is going to Mitt Romney," when no votes have been counted, because you know that's going to happen. This one was a little gutsy. I think it's right, but I think it's a little premature for exactly the reasons that you said. I normally hate gerrymandering, but have to fight fire with fire. I mean, that's not just gerrymandering, that's everything. Okay. Um, and the Democrats won't go there. They still, if I were to run the Democratic Party, I would do some really, really hard hitting shit that 95% of Democrats would not like. And I'm totally fine with that to win. Okay. Uh, I won't say what those things would be, but I would go there. Democrats won't go there. Republicans will do whatever it takes to win. Democrats will do 40% of whatever it takes to win. I would go 100% into that. Someone said stop the counts. No, yeah, I don't want to stop the count because we're still in no territory. Oh, okay. They were estimating a 4 point margin because they usually have. Oh, okay, 3.3 here. Seems about right. I'll see if they got any precinct results. Yeah, see, Vote Hub is not getting anything from the precincts at all. I was kind of hoping that they would, but they're not. Seeing everyone's, so somebody's saying, at least two Supreme Court justices deserve to boot. This is one of the problems I think with the Democrats and all that. Try to push, if you're all for the popular vote and get rid of the Electoral College, push that as a change to the Constitution. Okay? Go ahead, make that an issue. The Republicans will vote no on it, and people who are on the fence on that issue, because no Democrat is for the Electoral College. But if you're looking at people on the fence, they might not be for the Electoral College as well. You could get them over. The Democrats don't utilize using the Constitution as a political tool, not just the federal Constitution, but also state constitutions. In Florida, the Democrats have no political power right now. They have 35 seats in the state house, I think. They should be doing referendum after referendum after referendum on what they want to do and then backing that up. That's what they need to do. Diego, thank you very much. The problem I have with the Republican Party, they are the KKK. I live in Northern Virginia and voted yes. I'm going to be doing a video on my election history channel about what they call the big switch. And I've basically have done all the research now. I got to write up the video. It's a lot of people want to say the South has become racist. So therefore the Republican Party has won it because it's become racist. Now the Republicans have say something different, like the Democrats are the traditional racist party, so therefore they're the racist party now. First of all you got to look is at the last 5 nominees for president for the Democrats, and or what, 12, 16, well, 8, 12, and then 24. Look at 3 of the 5 last nominees for president compared to the Republicans. That blows that out of the water. But it isn't race only. Race is a part, but what my research is going to show is that a lot of the Republicans who are winning at the beginning, they didn't win on race. As a matter of fact, the racial issue was still a big part of Democratic primaries. A lot of the Republicans that were winning in the 60s, 70s, and coming into the 80s were the conservative Chamber of Commerce business type of people. They still, let's say, signed on to the Southern Manifesto and did other things. But the reason why the Republicans gained a foothold or basically now dominated the South was all issues of social conservatism: gay marriage, abortion, race, and so on. If you look at a lot of the stuff that happened in the 1980s and the 1970s, you saw a lot of conservative Republicans talking about this person and that person being a homosexual, right? Or something like that. So gay marriage and all that really propelled the Republican Party to go after those voters. It's not just race, it was a whole Christian conservatism ideal that led to the Republicans winning the South. Now, this is what the research shows, and I'll be doing a whole entire video on that. Was race a part of it? Yes, race was a part of it, but it was only a part of it. It was all the cultural issues that really made it what it is today. And what I said earlier in this video, why we're starting to see what we're seeing here in Virginia, and we're starting to see the cultural divide being the main determiner of if someone's going to vote Democratic or Republican. If you're rural Christian, you're going to vote Republican. If you're urban, you're going to vote Democrat. If you're in the suburbs, you're more than likely going to vote Democrat, but depending on where it is, like maybe some Houston suburbs, you're going to vote Republican. And chances are you're going to vote Republican because even though you're not in the rural part of America, you have this Christian identity where you're for all these other things. So it's not, and guns. So somebody said guns as well. Yes, and because guns is a cultural issue, right? So yes. Somebody says yes takes the lead. Where did they take the lead at? Well, they're in the lead here. Is this 117? And it keeps on going up and down. Yeah, and Fairfax is still at 30%. But yeah, that's the thing about the South is it's not just racism. It is the Republicans have become the Christian conservatives, which is why you have the most non-Christian person becoming the nominee for the Republican Party because I guess he was supposed to read the Bible today or something like that. I was hearing. But yeah, this is one of the issues. They have one of the most non-Christian people, but he's still better. And Michael Moore talked about this. Was it in one of the videos that one of the movies he did, he tied capitalism to Christianity. And that's part of it. Okay, John Nodon, thank you very much. Do you think this is as close as it is because independents stayed home? I don't know. We'd have to look at the post-election analysis to see who did and who did not turn out. This could just be an across-the-board, just not turning out, right? We still have to see what happens with Fairfax and so on. There's still a lot more vote coming in. There's still 20% left, and most of that 20% is going to be voting yes. Yeah, and I can understand why people, especially nowadays, are getting guns for self-defense. I look at it this way. Okay. Um oh yeah, I thought I had my White Sox hat on, but I actually have my hat um from the little White House in Warm Springs, Georgia on. I've been to the south side of Chicago many a times. I've never felt like I've needed a gun ever. I've been on this planet for many a decades, and there has not been one point in my entire life that I have ever felt that I have needed a gun. Ever. Now, maybe if I were more famous and there would be death threats against people and stuff, like if I were a famous person with that, that would be different. But I've never seen a reason to have a gun. And I think a lot of people now, you might have a gun for protection, but I do think a lot of, and you said like the people here were saying, they get it for protection, not because they're obsessed with guns. I think that a lot of reasons why Republicans have guns is that the government can't tell me what to do. It has nothing to do with protection, right? Because they kind of negate their own argument. They'll sit there and they'll say, I'll have a gun for protection, but then they say, oh, where I live is so safe, you can keep your doors unlocked at night. Okay, well, which one is it? You need a gun because it's so dangerous, or you can keep your doors unlocked at night because it's so safe. Pick a fucking side here, right? Is it getting dark out there? Yeah. I mean, it's like, remember that thing, what was it, about 10, 12 years ago, when Republicans were going into Starbucks with their guns, like on a certain day? It's because they're going to show the libs that they got the guns. It's like, that's all they want to do. They just, like, literally, the Republican Party has owned the libs. This goes back to what I was talking about with those groypers and stuff like that. They don't have any political ideology. They're like, let's just do something that shocks people. There is very much, and I'll say it, I think conservatism is starting to become a mental illness. Really, it is. Because I don't know if you saw this. Someone showed me this today. A woman tattooed Trump on her forehead. She got fired from work and now she can't find a job. It's a cult. It's a fucking cult. So yeah, just waiting for more votes to come in. Yeah, I think a lot have called it. I'm surprised they have not called it on New York Times yet. Well, no, their numbers are see they it looks like they have no. Yeah, I don't know why. They haven't called it on here. Now see decision desk. See every it's only decision desk that I can see that's showing that it's declared a win. Nobody else seems to be saying it's won, which I think is quite interesting. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, I can't think of Trump to me, tattooing Trump on your head, that's Trump derangement syndrome. Trump constantly coming up with conspiracy theories, that's Trump derangement syndrome. We're just calling this stuff out. Okay, I think what that is a lot of projection that people themselves are deranged, so they have to come up with some terminology to, I'm not stupid, you're stupid type of thing, right? Without actually trying to explain why they're not stupid. So, yeah, VoteHub has well, VoteHub it's weird. VoteHub's behind, but they're showing yes in the lead. Nothing on New York Times. And I think NBC News is quite interesting because they usually use Decision Desk HQ as their as what for their elections. But yeah, so I only see Decision Desk HQ's dashboard here saying yes. Oh, that is a good point. Hold on a second. Somebody says they're messing with the gamblers. Kind of wondering if CNN is saying that it. I'm like, CNN hasn't even called it, but I don't know if they're. I don't know if they're doing it or if they're having the AP do it or something like that. I don't know. Ah, so yes is in the lead here. I wonder if that was. Yeah, it does look like a few more votes came in. Yeah, so more votes came in from Fairfax. So yeah, now we're at the point now you can call it a win. Now we're at a point that there's just probably not enough Republican votes. Well, let's see. They do actually have votes remaining here. Let's go ahead and look at that. Estimated votes remaining. So look at the estimated votes remaining. Okay, Harris, 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 Harris. Frederick County. Okay, Harris, Harris. Yeah, this is over now. This is done. It'll be interesting to see if the others start calling it. Come on. Yeah, it'll be interesting from this point on. I guess you can watch the Cracky Kornacki. And I like him. I just call him Cracky Kornacki because he just looks like he smokes a little crack before he starts uh, doing his thing. I mean, it will be a win. With what we're seeing here, it will be a win. Now that they're in the lead, they're okay. It might teeter a little bit in the next few minutes, but 20 minutes from now, the yes side is not going to look back. The question is, how close is this going to be? And was it worth it? Oh, now CNN finally put all the colors for their map on there. Yeah, now you can stop the count. No, I wouldn't even stop. Okay, see, yep, there we go. I wouldn't even stop the count because now from this point on, it's just going to get a bigger lead. I'm still surprised New York Times, because I think New York Times does their forecasts or their projections internally. They don't rely on the AP or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, like right now, the problem is I don't even know what to make video. Here's the problem, and I mentioned this in the last thing. I would make videos on this channel. I just literally do. The live streams are fine. I don't know what to make a video about. That's what it is. And another thing, like I said, for the last month and a half, I have been working big time on this dashboard here to get it ready to be released, which it is now. It has now been released today. Like I said, it's only in Florida and stuff like that, but I've been spending so much time on that. And I was in Florida as well. So I've been busy. I don't know what to make videos on. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even see why you're not projecting yes. Yeah, because like Mustang just said, you still have 50% of Fairfax County Okay, 49% of Fairfax County still to come in. And most of the Republican votes, if we go here, most of the Republican votes are already tapped out. Okay. You have some in Frederick, you have some in Lynchburg and Rockingham, but otherwise, what Fairfax still has will probably negate a lot of these votes. Now, I was going to do one on the elections in Hungary, which I wish I would have, because that was a blowout. But I was in Florida, so actually, Kartik Krishnaiyer from the Florida Squeeze and I were sitting at Starbucks in Coral Springs, I think we were, and we were both like, wait, isn't today the Hungarian election? Then we looked at the phone and saw the results. Now, unfortunately, my country is the only one that has a stupid dictator there. Fico is now trying to make it that if you live outside of Slovakia, you can't vote. So they're trying to do a constitutional amendment on that. Hopefully it doesn't pass, because it'll be my first Slovak election to vote in. I'm looking forward to that. As of right now, I'm going to vote for the Progressive Party unless something changes, but I don't think it's going to change. So it will be interesting to fill out a ballot for that's in Slovak. That's going to be interesting. All right. We'll wait a few more minutes. Let's see, what time is it? We'll go to the top of the hour, do a little bit of chat. But I think from this point on, we know what's going to happen. We know that the Democrat, or I keep on saying the Democrats, but it is the Democrats that did this. We know that yes is going to win. And again, this is another situation where it was brought to the voters and the voters said yes. And what does this mean in hindsight? I think that, can we say now, maybe I'll do a video about this tomorrow. Can we now say that Virginia is a solid Democratic state? I think this result here, because, they could be solidly Democratic, but then there's that point where you try to pass something like changing the boundaries of the map in the middle of the decade. That kind of seems like a bit of an overreach and abusing your power a little bit more. But if the voters say, yeah, we're good with that, there comes a point where if this passes, I don't see how Republicans in the state of Virginia can win statewide. I don't see that. I don't see how that can happen. And I think we're maybe at that point now. But we'll see. Yeah, see, Orban had control of everything and still got blown away. Right. That gives us hope. And for all intents and purposes, all the elections, though not necessarily consequential to Trump, have gone out with very little interference. I don't know what's happening with the whole Fulton County thing. It's kind of funny because they're going to Fulton County for 2020. And remember, Tulsi Gabbard, who was down there, she ran for president in 2020. So she doesn't like Biden either because she lost him in the primaries. Oh, okay. Yeah, CNN has now called it. Yeah, the smear party, and see, this is where it is a little bit different. Is the smear party in Slovakia? People compare it to Orban's party, but they call it a right party, which it is. it's difficult. It's kind of they're economic leftists. They're the legacy of the Communist Party of Slovakia. Okay. And it is the Communist Party of Slovakia. They had the National Communist Party, then they had it split into the Communist Party of the of Moravia, I think it was, and Slovakia, and then it went like that. So they're economic leftist, but they've been going more down the traditionalist path as far as social issues, like Viktor Orban, like Vladimir Putin. So that's why a lot of people call them right, but they're not. They're pretty much, I would call extreme economic leftists, extreme right when it comes to social issues. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so we'll end at the top of the hour. Um oh no, that's loud. So we're at 73%. So it looks like this could be 51-49, 52-48, something around there. And to me, this would have been the worst prospect for the Democrats, right? It would have been like, you could see how the Democrats could lose this because they're pushing their power a little bit too much. Voters are saying yes. I think now Virginia is a lock from this point on. Okay, just don't pick former DNC chairs as your damn gubernatorial candidates. Youngkin didn't win. Glenn Youngkin didn't win because he won. He won because he was running against Terry McAuliffe. Don't do that. Don't now all of a sudden run Tim Martin for Virginia governor. Okay, don't do that. Or Tom, I forget. The Martin guy. The guy who's the DNC chair. Okay, cool. They did call it. So there we go. Oh, do they have precincts on? See, I've been looking at Vote Hub and I don't see any precincts at all. I just see the counties. Even if you click on the county, it just shows the county. So I haven't seen any precincts when it comes to anything on Vote Hub, which they usually do. I mean, give credit where credit's due. When they do have the precinct results on there, that's pretty damn impressive. Ken Martin, that's his name. Ken Martin. Jesus. Yeah, Ken Martin's from Minnesota. I do know that, but I'm just saying, just don't run somebody who's the DNC chair. That's the point. Whether it was David Wilhelm or anyone like that. And don't run one from the Clinton White House. Though I guess, Kane and Warner are kind of that mold. Oh, click on the map icon. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they need to. Hell, even my map, I think, loads a lot faster than that. I mean, here are the precinct results. I don't know enough about the precincts to actually give any analysis to that. Not going to lie to you and say, oh, yeah, here in Bull Run, this is where, the first battle of the Civil War, blah, blah. Well, Fort Sumter was. But, this should be. I'm not going to tell you that because I don't know what is and what isn't. Unlike Florida, I can look at this map and tell you what it should look like. Whereas in this map, I can't really necessarily give you an analysis. So, yeah. But this is good. Democrats actually pull it off. As long as Fairfax keeps on pulling and remember, Fairfax is actually increasing in population while all this area is decreasing, right? So Fairfax, Northern Virginia, Loudoun County, Fairfax, the cities up there are going to start just dominating the states. Probably even taking stuff away from like Portsmouth and Norfolk and Virginia Beach as well. Just pick a centrist in 2028 and the Democrats will be fine. Be careful what you wish for. I think, I find that the people who say, pick a centrist and Democrats will be fine are the same ones that said Hillary and Kamala were going to win. Be careful what you wish for. Well, and people talk about progressive, the most progressive candidate, though he had his ethical problems afterwards, the most progressive candidate to run for governor in the state of Florida was Andrew Gillum, and he's the only one in recent times that almost was able to take Florida. So again, be careful what you wish for. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and end the stream for tonight. We got a lot of people on here tonight, which was great. But unless you want to talk about some other things, it's too dark for me to go out and mow the lawn right now, so I can't do that. So if there's anything else we want to talk about, we can talk about that a little bit. Wait for some more results to come in. Wasn't the redistricting Trump's idea? Yeah, I mean, we're just like, okay, so here's the thing a lot of people, whenever we hear the word fake news, we associate it with Donald Trump. Who is the first one to kind of coin that phrase and actually make it popular? Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was the first one to talk about fake news, and then the Republicans just took it and just ran with it. But it was actually Pelosi who said it first. Give credit where credit's due. Can we talk about Hungary and Europe? We could talk about Hungary and Europe because I didn't do anything for that. Stand for maybe an extra 15 minutes. So yeah, when we look at Hungary and Europe, well, I guess we can say the whole entire shebang. We're starting to see people voting against authoritarianism. And to me, if we're going to be honest, there is a difference between, I don't know how to say it. You have authoritarianism, you have the right, but then I would say the right is different in Europe than it is in the United States. Okay. So if we take the right in Europe, obviously a lot of it is very anti-immigration and stuff like that. But I think the right in the United States is based more off of race and religion and economic conservatism, where in Europe it's not. Okay, so let's say the Rassemblement National in France, Jordan Bardella becomes the prime minister. He's not going to get rid of the French healthcare system. They would put his head on a pike and march it to the Bastille, which is no longer there, but the square is there, right? You don't have that here, and this is what I've always said to myself. If I lived in Europe, would I maybe consider voting more of a moderate or conservative tilt or a party if I lived there? Yeah, honestly, because there my needs would be met as far as healthcare and all those other things. But with Orban's election, as many of you know, it wasn't a battle of the right versus the left, because Magyar was of the right as well. He was a former member of Fidesz, right? He was just against the absolute corruption of Orban's government. Policies are probably not going to change much. It's just going to be that you can now say what you want without retribution, right? That's what it's going to be. So Orban was actually left-wing on some economic issues. Yeah, actually in a lot of, well, see, this comes in a whole comparison of the United States to Europe that I think is a huge flaw. Because what you'll have in the American media, because the American media basically doesn't look at American viewers of what they have, readers, viewers, as intelligent, they'll always say this person is this person of this person, right? Marine Le Pen is the Trump of France. She's not even near the Trump of France. Okay. As a matter of fact, Orban, like, I can't even think of anyone who would be the closest to the Trump of anything in Europe. But in the United States, for some reason, we always have to do these equations of this person is the this person of this. Okay, always. We just can't understand, like, this person is this person. Okay. Like, who would you compare Macron to in the United States? I don't know. Rahm Emanuel, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, so Bulgaria had an election that kind of went the other way. Okay. So, but I haven't read as much about that. No, but see, this is where I disagree. Nigel Farage, people will say that Nigel Farage is the Trump of the UK. I disagree. Because UKIP, and I'm going to do a video about UKIP or Nigel Farage in the future. Once UKIP started getting extremely racist, that was the catalyst that made Nigel Farage leave. He says, I don't want to be involved with that. Okay. And that's when he started Reform UK. So there you actually do see a clear split between Farage and the racist elements of the UKIP party. And he started his own. And now you look at the UKIP party, it's not BNP, but it's not the UKIP as it was under Nigel Farage. I mean, when the UKIP party started, it was a pure Eurosceptic, anti-Eurozone, all of that. Okay. We then started getting into the immigration aspect of it because then, the UK was part of the EU. But Farage wasn't part of that racist element. He left UKIP because of that racist element. Whereas with Donald Trump, since he's become president and the leader of the Republican Party, there is more of that racist element. So I don't think Farage and Trump are nearly the same. Like, not even nearly. Brian Phelps, thank you very much for the super chat. Thanks for covering another election night. Would love to see you on other channel in Virginia 2021 race. McAuliffe truly was the worst. I mean, he was the worst. There's no doubt about it. He was a bad candidate. But it isn't just him. What was his, I forget his first name, but Gillespie was his last name. He was the RNC chair and ran for governor. And I think he lost to Tim Kaine when Tim Kaine became governor. I think that's who Gillespie lost to, was Kaine, but I'm not sure. So yeah. Now I got to look it up. That had to be like 2006 or no, 2005. No, not Kilgore. Okay, Kilgore ran against Kaine. Oh, did Gillespie run for Senate maybe? Because I know he ran for something. I mean, unless I'm wrong and my brain is just totally tired. Ed Gillespie. Here it is. What did he run for? So he was chair of the National Republican Committee. Okay, he ran for the U.S. Senate. That had to have been against Mark Warner. Yeah, he ran for the U.S. Senate against Mark Warner. That's what it was. So yeah, there's this thing with like party chairman in Virginia, national party chairman in Virginia, running for statewide office, either gubernatorial or federal, like the U.S. Senate. That does happen a lot. Oh yeah, he did run for governor in 2017 as well. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. Seeing it here, he did run for governor as well. So yeah. So he did run for both. But again, my point was just National Party chairman running for statewide office in Virginia just seems to be a thing. Um, Warner is such a shitty corporate Democrat. Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay, Rennie, thank you very much for a super chat. Are you going to cover the May 5th Michigan Senate primary? Thanks for all you do. Probably. Now that I'm back, I need to figure out what the calendar is going to be. Because honestly, half of these elections, I don't even know they're happening until the day they happen. So Danielson, who I don't know if he's still in here, but was in here, he made a comment on the Discord saying, "Are you going to cover the election?" I'm like, "Oh, I forgot the election was even today," right? So yeah, sometimes you just forget that these elections actually are happening, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and do that." But see, here's the thing about Hungary I think is very interesting is that even past elections, you looked at them and you're like, okay, that result can seem legit. Okay. Wasn't a Vladimir Putin, Saddam Hussein margin, right? There was still this air of democracy happening, at least within the votes. Maybe not with the media coverage and all that. Now, that's going to be something to see what will happen from this point on, to see how the change of media coverage is. Because now I've always talked about moving to Europe. Now there were reasons why, because people say, Dave, are you going to move to Europe like you said you were going to do? Probably not now. Because before, when I was planning on moving to Europe, I thought that I was going to have to go to France, establish residency there for 5 years, then apply to be a US citizen and do all of that stuff. Like I would have to put in my time. Now that I'm a Slovak citizen, and there's no way that Slovakia is going to leave the European Union, because they rely on the European Union too much, even with Fico in there. Now I kind of have, hey, if I need to go to Europe tomorrow or this evening, boom, I just go over there. I'm a citizen. It's done. I don't have to go through that process anymore. That being the case, I really do like Budapest. I've been there only once when I visited Slovakia last time. I took a train down to Budapest. Would I consider living in Hungary or Budapest in a post-Orban world? Yeah, because I visited there in a Orban world and it was very nice. I would consider moving there. I really do like Budapest a lot. So wait, Michigan's primaries in August. Somebody said that it was in. See, that's the thing. I'm like, I don't know what days these primaries are. I like literally know them the day that they happen. I wasn't making any videos right now because usually April, May is kind of like a dead period. And yeah, July, August, September, a lot of primaries start kicking up. That's when I'll probably start doing daily uploads again as well. So yeah. Yeah, so I like Budapest. I like Bratislava. The only problem with Bratislava, it's too small. Okay, it's one of those places that once you've seen it, you've kind of seen it. I like Prague. So I've only been to Prague once. Love Berlin. Okay. Nice thing about being a European citizen is I can live in any of those places now. Something I didn't think was going to happen a year ago. So let's see. I got to. Sometimes this microphone is just causing problems here. What I like about Prague is they have their pass for public transit for metro, bus, and tram is like $85 a year. And you can use it all. $85 a year. That's insanely cheap. So, yeah. So yeah, I pretty much I can move to I can move to that. So let's see some Vienna's beautiful. Vienna's beautiful. Actually, like I did a pilgrimage to Vienna. I went to Vienna the same time I actually went to Prague and Berlin and all that. I did a trip around about a year ago now, a little over a year ago. It was March of last year. And I went to Vienna and I did the pilgrimage. So there's this big cemetery kind of on the outskirts of Vienna. And it has like the big musical names and stuff like that. It has the grave of Beethoven and a number of other people. It has the presidents of Austria, many of them, like Kurt Waldheim. So many of you might have remembered him from the controversial days and stuff like that. But I went there to see one grave in particular, Falco, right? And they have a Falco themed restaurant in Austria, in Vienna, which that was like I'm coming home. So if any of you know the Jenny 2 song, you know what that's in reference to. And I still believe the United States will win the World Cup. I still believe. Do you think Eurotrip unfairly badmouthed Slovakia? No, no. I think it's funny. Is Bratislava like that? No, but I think it's funny. Um, so yeah. I was just talking about something else, but I forgot what it was. Now I'm just kind of rambling because I do see there's still 450 people that like hearing me talking about going to Vienna and seeing the grave of Falco. Okay. Fairfax 95. See, we're getting closer to that. 51 and a half. I said between 51 and 52. That looks like where we're going to be. So this looks good. Someone keeps saying, do you support trans rights? What does trans rights mean? Okay. I don't know what that means. It's like saying, do you support coffee? What does that mean? Give me specific issues. Because one thing I notice is with a lot of people, they want to say you're pro or anti this without actually giving you the specifics. That's the problem with politics nowadays. So yeah, it does look. Yeah, what does trans rights mean? Tell me the issue that you were talking about. Tell me the issue you're talking about. Give me an issue. If you can't give me an issue, then I don't know if you know what you're talking about. If you can't clearly define the issue that you're trying to figure out what I'm trying to give you an answer for. Can't give me an answer for it, you might need to reevaluate what your position is on it because you don't know the issues. So since you're asking the question, the onus is on you to ask me the question that is not a broad, vague question like, is green, right? Would you know what voting rights, women's rights, and all that mean? Again, what are we talking about? Okay, there are a plethora of different issues with every single one of those. Wait, what is Lichtman doing? I noticed he's back. I saw him talking about like I was in Orlando and I saw him talking about the um talking about the Hungarian elections. So obviously he's back to doing stuff. What about Kansas taking away trans people's driver's license? I mean, it's just like that's you know what? People are dying because they don't have health care. Like, that's literally an issue I do not give a shit about. We have people dying because they don't have health care. We have people that can't afford apartments. They can't afford food. They can't afford other stuff. And we're talking about fucking driver's license in Kansas? Really? There's more important shit right now. That's the reason why I don't like a lot of these identity politics issues. Yeah, so we're at 94, so that looks like, yeah, so I'm just seeing I can't say if I support labor rights. Okay, perfect example, labor rights. Okay, do I think labor union should be there? Talking about union, should I believe union should be there to help protect the workers and do things like that, protect them legally, being their representative in court and paying dues so that they can have that representation in court? Yes. Do I think that the leadership of a union should be able to determine who the endorsements are so that the members then have to give their money for the contributions to the union, which then go to the candidates that those people might not endorse? Example, Hillary Clinton in 2016? No. So that's what I'm saying. Politics is nuanced. And the problem is people want to make it so black and white with such nuance, or with such black and white questions. They don't want nuance, which is a shame. Did it pass? Yes, it passed. If anyone's talking about this, yes, it passed. But I still want to see what Lichtman was talking about. So people are talking about Lichtman is doing something. Because the funny thing about Alan Lichtman is I did my video about him, but I made a comment below one of his videos about the papers that he wrote and saying, Lichtman, you contradicted yourself in this paper. And I was in Paris at the time. And I was like, you contradict yourself in this paper. Or what it was that he has his keys that there were, but originally they were different keys. And as more and more elections came, he kept on changing the keys to just adhere to all the elections, right? And so I wrote a response going, well, Lichtman, why do you have this in this paper that you have? Why did you have this key, but you don't have it now, and stuff like this? Your paper that you wrote in like 1979 or whatever contradicts what you say here. And in this situation, you don't say this. Like, there are whole things I said. Literally 2 hours later, he made a video on it. Like, literally 2 hours later, he said, yeah, people are talking about this paper that I wrote and whatever. I was like, holy shit, you responded to it in 2 hours. Like, I want to go get like a shawarma. Like, I did my video. I went out to go get a shawarma at this really great shawarma place in the Marais. I came back and like there was already a video by Lichtman on it. What is my position on AIPAC? Personally, I believe AIPAC is foreign interference in American elections. Pure and simple. It's foreign interference in American elections. But again, what are rights? So for example, let's say you have somebody who's a biological male who is going into a woman's bathroom. Who has the rights? The person that is the biological male who identifies as a female, or the person who's an actual female that doesn't want somebody who is a biological male going into the restroom, and their privacy rights as well. And at that point, you have the right to privacy as well. Okay? So when you're talking about rights, you have to, what I do find about the Democrats, it's very interesting, is that there's a hierarchy of rights. Women's rights, it's the lowest on the totem pole, right? Minority rights are a little more, and religious rights, and then maybe trans rights are the highest. So for example, a lot of liberals will sit there and talk about women's rights, but then not talk about how women in certain societies are absolutely oppressed. In that case, it's not women's rights because these people over here are of a different skin color, and that's more important than women's rights. So, see, your rights contradict each other. And I'm not saying that because I believe necessarily that. I'm just making it as an argument that you can't just say, do you support this rights? Because you will come to a point where one right of one group of people is going to contradict the rights of another group of people because you have a clash of those two groups of people. Okay. Have you heard Gavin Newsom? Yeah, he basically was one of the first people that did gay marriage. As a matter of fact, I think he administered the first gay marriage in the state of California. He was the one that did the whole trans bathroom thing in California when he was, yeah, it might have been before he was governor. Okay, no, it had to have been when he was governor. Yeah, so very, very much the question then I have for you is obviously you've only heard Gavin Newsom over the past year. Have you seen his record before? Go ahead, look at his record before, come back to me, and we'll talk. Because obviously, and this is the problem I have, people only want to hear what they want to hear. They don't research the whole entire thing. This is the problem with the liberal echo chamber. You hear this thing about Gavin Newsom, but you obviously do not know what his voting record is and what his stance was before a year ago. Go ahead, check that out, come back to me, we'll talk about it. Because obviously you don't know what that is. You're reacting off a podcast that he had with like Steve Bannon, and that is your whole entire premise of what Gavin Newsom's view is. Go ahead, do a little research, come back to me. So yeah. Okay, it's not a matter you cannot tell if someone is male or female with a bathroom cop checking people's. Okay, let's say I go into a bathroom like this. I go into a woman's bathroom and I say I identify as a woman. Why would I be wrong? And at what point legally do you say that someone does adhere to that or doesn't adhere to that? Are you going to set a standard that says, oh, this person is woman looking enough to go into a woman's bathroom, but this guy is not woman looking enough to go into this bathroom? Who's going to set that standard? Okay, so tell me, why can't I go into a women's bathroom and say I identify as a woman? I'm going to go squat right here and take a shit. And instead of saying it's silly or whatever people are going to say, give me an answer. Don't be a Trump. Don't do the Trump tactic of I don't like your answer, I'm just going to say you're dumb. No, give me an answer. Give me an answer. See, dude, are you serious? Give me an answer. But you don't want to give me an answer because you can't give me an answer. But we're not talking about people who look like men and women. That's my point. We're talking about people who, quote unquote, identify as men or women. Okay? And if I identify as a woman but look totally like this and go into a woman's bathroom, why is that wrong? Do I have to look a certain way? And then again, if I have to look a certain way, what's that standard? Who's going to determine how I look? Maybe this is a little too advanced. No, this is a realistic situation. You can't answer. You keep on saying this isn't a realistic situation. All right, you can't answer the question. If you can't answer the question, just go ahead and just admit you can't answer the question. Yeah, oh God, here we go again. I agree with you on that. Here we go again. But again, give me an answer. This is one thing I find about a lot of people. They can't give answers to these. They just say, oh, that's crazy. Why? Because it's crazy. Why? Give me an answer. Give me an example. Give me a position. Give me something. Unfortunately, politics is becoming very, very dumb in this country, and people cannot even make a political argument. Trans people usually look how they are presenting. Okay, but that's not the question. What if that's not the point. If I say I identify as a man or as a woman, I go into a woman's bathroom, why is that wrong? And okay, you're saying it's based on looks. Who determines if someone is just feminine enough or just too masculine enough to then determine what that is? Okay? So you did not answer that question. It's not realistic. We're talking about identity. So give me an you've already given me an answer, but you didn't get or I'm looking at a few people. I'm looking at one, so somebody said I've already given you an answer. Um, you know what I think it is? Some of the people, you know what it is? Okay, what it is a few people have the same color um, as far as their icon on here, and I think I'm mixing up what two or three people are saying. Um, yeah. Now, do I think trans people should be discriminated against in the workplace and stuff like that? No, no. People should be allowed to work and all wherever they want and stuff like that, and they should not have to be treated in a certain way. But when you all of a sudden start talking about certain issues that can impact other people, and I'm not talking about other people's religious views or whatever. I'm talking about you know competition in sports. I'm sorry. I know a lot of liberals are going to go ha ha ha, but it's true. The only reason you go ha ha that's stupid is because you don't have a counter argument to it. Give me a counter argument, I will listen. Okay. Um, but like with the state ID cards, to me, people need healthcare in this country. People need food. People need jobs. People need to be able to afford gas. In the neighborhood I live in right now, I see more and more people walking than I ever have before. It's because they can't afford to drive anywhere. To me, we got to be a little bit serious about the issues. And trust me, if you're going to go down that transgender issue thing, you're going to lose the election. You're going to, again, grasp defeat out of the jaws of victory. Now, I know it's hard for many people to realize that, but it's not smart. Just, yeah. Unisex bathrooms are the best way to solve this problem. Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? Um, single stall ones, right? But yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there are two people or three people with like the same color that I was looking at. So if I was saying one thing to one person and another, it seemed like I was saying it to the same person. So are you an expert in that sport? Okay, it has nothing to do with being an expert in a sport. Okay. Um, I think it's in the experts to decide that. I've played enough sports. I played hockey for years. Okay? And I'll just tell you that it's not the same. Okay? If I went out there, because there was a women's hockey team as well. If I went out there and then played on that team, I know the players that there were, I would have dominated. Okay? I'm just saying that. So you don't need to be a rocket surgeon to figure some of this shit out. Okay? Who cares about people getting erased from existence? They're not getting erased from existence. How are they getting erased from existence? Again, explain to me why that's the case. Instead of just coming up with a talking points, come up with an actual argument, an actual issue. And this is what I'm noticing with a lot of people coming up with talking points, but you're not coming up with any concrete evidence. You're not, when I pose a question to you about do it this way or do it this way or explain it more, you just come up with not even anecdotal evidence. You're just coming up with quotes. Um, yeah. I agree with that. Okay, so what this person says I think's good. I think the answer to trans athletes is pretty simple. Government shouldn't be legislating on it. Sports leagues already handle this issue fine. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Now, and this is the ironic thing about Republicans, they're really big into government overreach, right? But they know it's a campaign issue that's going to win. Why do Republicans always talk about it? Because they know it's going to get them votes. Okay? That's it. Are you going to walk back your support for criminal bathroom laws? I don't know what that means. No, do I think men's bathroom are for men and women's bathrooms are for women? Yeah, sorry. And if that's something that, you know, you don't like me saying, well, you have other places that are echo chambers that are going to give you the responses that you want to hear without any critical fight back to your opinion. Okay. That's your choice if you want to be in an echo chamber that doesn't challenge what you have. Again, I constantly ask people to give me examples. Some people have actually given me some good things, like the comment that I mentioned about the sports leagues already do that. That's a concrete answer. That's actually addressing the issue. But oh, this, those aren't addressing issues. You're just saying quotes. This is the reason why politics is in a bad place today, because no one can actually make an argument. It's, oh, you don't agree with me, I think you're bad. This is the thing that I think is really funny, especially about the left. The left will sit there and say, oh, if you don't believe 100% of what I believe, then you're closed-minded. That's about the most closed-minded argument that anyone can even make. So yeah, so any I am still looking for the Alan Lichtman thing because I did want to know. Um, okay, here we go. Do you think that Lindsey, and actually I didn't lose as many viewers doing that rant as I thought. Do you think that Lindsey Graham has a good chance of being primaried? Is he being primaried right now? I don't know. Um, I think he kisses Trump's ass just enough to avoid a primary, right? I don't think the dear leader will go against Lindsey Graham because he's such an ass kisser. So I think in order for somebody to primary Lindsey Graham, and I don't know if a filing deadline is passed or whatever, I think it would be hard because I don't think Trump would get involved with it. So that's why I'm saying I don't think that he would. So so yeah, I don't. Are there any other races people want to mention? So he does have one Republican challenger. Okay. Yeah, I just think that it's going to be, again, he just kisses his ass a little bit too much, or just enough that he'll avoid being under the wrath of Trump. Seems like the primaries are just Trump's wrath or non-wrath, right? Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too, as Rennie mentioned. You also have the situation where it's possible that Trump's endorsement, well, I don't know in the Republican primaries anymore. I think Trump's endorsements help in the Republican primaries, but it can be a killer in the general election. I mean, look at the election that we just had in Georgia, right? For Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat. That was much closer than people thought. And Trump and the Republicans were heavily involved with that. That should be an indication that if we continue to see those swings, Democrats win the House. I still feel that Democrats can win the Senate. I still feel that, now there are two states that I have always said don't fall for the fool's gold: Florida and Texas. Florida, I'm not there yet, right? I don't think Vindman will win. I think Ashley Moody will win. But James Talarico, he might just do it. Now, I haven't said that about anyone, and I like Beto O'Rourke a lot. I wanted him to beat Cruz, and I wanted him to beat Abbott, but I was like, it's just not going to happen. Talarico might just do it. He might just win this thing. We'll see. Mamdani had the right tack, I think. So people are talking about Mamdani, right? I mean, Mamdani is, but see, here's the thing. Everyone's talking about, so people are talking about Muslim, this, that, and the other. Mamdani did not run on race or run on religion or anything like that. He ran on making New Yorkers' life better. And guess what? His approval rating is like at 63, 64%. People in New York are loving him. Like a lot of people are just unknown. They don't have an opinion of him. He's doing what he promised to do. It's great to see Mamdani win. What do you think about Mary Peltola in Alaska? I like her as a choice. I think as of right now, I think of the last video I did regarding the U.S. Senate, I said I believe that is going to go Democratic. Right now, I think the lowest hanging fruit is North Carolina and now Maine. I mean, Plattner has done a really good job. I always mention the thing about the tattoo, and I was very much saying, I think he's going to lose because of that whole tattoo issues. He's been able to weather the storm. It came out early enough. He's really run his campaign smart. I think he's going to take that Senate race. Janet Mills should just drop out. She does not have a chance. And it looks like Maine and North Carolina are the low-hanging fruits. So those are two, I think, that are going to go the Democrats' way. The next states, I would say, would be, I would even put Texas above Ohio. I'm not sure about Sherrod Brown. Mary Peltola, the good thing about that race, very, very cheap media market, right? Very cheap media market. The DNC and the DSCC can flood those media markets to death and get people on the ground there. And the good thing is it's geographically, it's weird. It's the biggest state, but it's kind of geographically centered because all you have to do is put your people and your volunteers, Fairbanks, Wasilla, Anchorage, maybe Juneau, maybe Ketchikan, maybe some other, but pretty much Wasilla, Fairbanks, Juneau, and Anchorage. You set up shop there, you're done. It's a very cheap media market. It's a very cheap way to actually win that seat. So I think that could be low-hanging fruit soon. Does Alaska still have, RCV? I think it does. I mean, they just had it. So I think that's still going on. Because I assume it was passed in the Constitution or it was passed that they would probably have to have a law to get rid of that, or the legislature would get rid of it. I haven't heard anything of them getting rid of it at all. If somebody else knows, please let me know. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Right, Mamdani got over 50% with a spoiler candidate in the race. And you know what? Mamdani did what I think a lot of people should do. Watching MSNBC right now, and they got Jen Psaki with Tim Kaine on there. MSNBC or MS Now, they just never fucking learn. Anyway, back to Mamdani. You're right. And I think Cuomo was the last vestige of Democratic establishment power in the state of New York. And people like Schumer and all that should take notice. So yeah, like Richie Torres, I would love for that guy to be out of Congress. Now you want to talk about someone who kisses ass to AIPAC, Richie Torres. He is the most establishment AIPAC guy that there is. Yeah, but you know what? For a lot of people who like Biden, until he became vice president, was probably AIPAC's biggest supporter on Capitol Hill. Go read biographies about Joe Biden and AIPAC. If you're not for AIPAC, you're definitely not going to be for Joe Biden. Cuomo wasn't a great guy. I don't like the whole Cuomo family. I never have. Even Mario Cuomo, I don't like the Cuomo family. Don't trust them. And now, I mean, and Cuomo's brother, oh my God, that guy's gone off the reservation as well. So, Steyer, this is a good point, and I mentioned it in my history video a few weeks ago. Steyer seems so good in theory. It's just that he's a billionaire. There's not much trust I have in him. Okay. But Tom Steyer came out with a video about 2 weeks ago when I made my other video saying that he was wrong on universal health care and that Bernie Sanders is right. We need a single payer universal health care system. That was a big video. Now, I don't know if that's just to get votes, but he said, he literally said in the video, I am wrong. Bernie Sanders is right. He even said, Bernie, when you're right, you're right. So I agree with what you're saying about the billionaire thing. But that video made me sit there and go, and this is the thing about being able to change your mind and being open to things. Like me, I was a real naysayer when it came to Plattner. I said he reminded me a lot of Fetterman. And even Mehdi Hassan did a video having an interview with Plattner saying, you remind me of Fetterman, and we don't need that again. And then he answered the questions, which I really liked. I'll admit when I was wrong on Fetterman. I was wrong on Fetterman. I think a lot of us were, but I was wrong on Plattner. I like the guy. I love where he is on the issues. Like, he is the candidate that I would want there. I didn't think he would win because of the whole tattoo thing. He's pushed through that. I'll admit I'm wrong on that one. So yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end tonight's stream. I need to get some stuff done. I'll start doing some videos in the near future. Don't know when that near future will be. I need things to do videos about, and that's kind of a roadblock right now. So yeah. All right, well, so that's it for tonight. Thank you all very much. Had some heated conversations. I love those. We were able to talk about a lot of subjects, but at the end of the day, we are talking about this election, and it does look like it's going to be a win, but a little bit closer than we expect. But I think we are at the point where we can say Virginia, it's not a lean state anymore. I think this was the acid test here. This election was the acid test. I think we can now say it is a solid Democratic state. All right, well, thank you all very much. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day wherever it is you are, and I'll